Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of XPlicit Materia, the podcast where a nerdy drummer talks to his friends and also meets new people, new and inspiring people, because her stuff is awesome on Instagram. Everyone meet Rachel, also known as Lady SnipeShot or CyberShot. There's like two names in your Instagram handle.
It's SnipeShot.
Okay.
I changed it when
I'm Lady
Cyberpunk came
CyberShot.
out. Say what?
Different profession.
I'm Lady CyberShot.
But no, I changed it to CyberShot temporarily because Cyberpunk came out, and I just haven't changed it back yet. So.
Oh, okay. Right on. So you're changing it with the times.
Yeah.
That's cool, and something I never would ever do because I'm not smart enough to do that. I guess, dang. But yeah,
I'm
welcome to the
permanently stuck
podcast.
in the 90s, so there's no reason for that.
We all know Dane. Dane has been a recurring guest for quite a while.
Whether we like it or not. Hi, everybody.
So what is up, you two? How's life? What is going on in y'all's neck of the woods?
Work and TikTok videos, pretty much.
Oh, so you're on TikTok as well. I don't have a TikTok.
You know, I avoided it for a long time. I was like, no. And then I realized I started watching it. There's a lot of funny things on TikTok. Like, it customizes to you, so it's super, like, you know, super funny, in my opinion. But if you're a creator of any kind of medium, I think you should be on TikTok.
Yeah, I heard the same thing. I've heard several people like comment on my YouTube channel, be like, dude, you gotta do TikTok. And I'm just sitting here thinking like, gosh, I can barely keep up with the mediums I'm already on. Like I'm already given up on Facebook. I don't care. So that was the first one that died. And so now like I'm doing the Instagram thing, like Twitter, forget about it. I'm like, no one, like I put a video, it's 0 views. Like whatever, who cares? Like I don't really use Twitter that much. And so now it's just Instagram and YouTube. And I'm, I don't know if I can.
And Twitch counts.
Oh, Twitch, yeah, Twitch.
Even though
Twitch
you simulcast, so that doesn't, I don't know, maybe it doesn't count.
I don't know, maybe. It's just easier. It's just easier that when I simulcast, I can't do it to both. If
I could say something probably a little bit controversial in terms of social media, but I could probably almost get rid of everything but Twitter because of TikTok. That's how much I like it more.
Well, I've heard that you get a lot more engagement on TikTok.
So much more.
Yeah. So I think that's a major drawing point. I think Instagram and YouTube and everyone else need to get on their and Twitch too. Get your shit together.
Is it true that like the TikTok feed does not have like some algorithmic thing that decides what you're seeing and what you're not? Like if somebody posts something that you're following, you actually do see it, right?
You see the things the people that you follow and stuff, but it does have an algorithm that starts curating the content for you. And it turns out to be only things that you really like.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. And I know that because I listen and watched the podcast, Your Mom's House. And if anyone ever, like, that's one of the best podcasts. And it's Tom Segura and his wife, Christina Pazynski. And they're comedians, if you don't know. And yeah, good try. That's why they just call her Christina P.
I don't know what's correct, but I'm pretty sure that's not.
It's something Slovakian or whatever. But it's just she loves TikTok because they have this whole recurring thing where her feed is basically the dregs of society. Like just bucktooth, weird, white trash.
Gamers.
No, not gamers. You think,
I just
right?
tanked your whole podcast. Like you're canceled.
I take pride in my demographic. No gamers on that podcast, strangely enough.
I hope when this actually airs, like you just bleep it out and my screen goes black for a second. Content not found.
But yeah, but she like that's like how her algorithm is now. Everything that comes into her TikTok feed is just like, just freaking white trash hillbillies just saying awful, horrible things, and then they just talk about it on the podcast.
Oh my goodness.
Just curated garbage.
Yeah, pretty much.
You have this poor robot just grabbing terrible things for you and just sifting it.
Essentially. It's yeah. And so maybe that also kind of darkened my TikTok want to get on TikTok. But maybe eventually, maybe I'll pull the trigger one of these days. I don't know. I let me get my freaking stream settings set, since I had to deal with that all this morning. But actually, so Rachel, I have you on because Dane introduced me to your Instagram, and then he said that you're a virtual photographer, and I've never heard of that before. And I saw yours, and I was like, oh wow, this is freaking dope. And so I'm going to share my screen here for those who don't know. It's Lady SnipeShot here. Let's check this out. First of all, can I just comment on a lot of Instagram people do this, and I tried to do this at one time, and I don't have the constitution to keep this up. But I am loving.
Who's that guy? Cool.
I am loving the 3 tile thing that you got going here. 3 theme. Look. I mean,
look at the coordination.
Yeah, coordination. I do not have that.
It's actually it's real simple. There's a cheat. There's an app that you can download that you can upload pictures to crop them, and it'll crop them evenly. So, and then you just put them in the right order, and that's it.
See, that would have made my world so much easier.
I think I have that app, Shane, and if you send me pictures, I'll be happy to do this for you, and I may write things in the background too.
I'm sure. It'd be like, what's like Instagram gets taken over by certain celebrities or whatever. Dane's taking over my Instagram today.
Oh, I can't imagine anything more of a mistake for you.
Yeah, but I'm so I do have a question. How do you get these shots? And what's your process?
Well, okay, so probably there's actually been what's called a photo mode in games for a long time. Like Forza, it's been a lot of sports games and driving games, and Grand Theft Auto had ways to snap photos, and they've had a long time where basically what a photo mode does is it takes the camera away from your character and allows you to move it where you want it. And then you can apply effects like exposure, saturation, change if you want grain or not. You can also change the field of view, the depth of field, all of those things, just like a normal camera would. But back a few years ago now, when Horizon Zero Dawn came out, that's when I actually got into virtual photography. They added, I would say, probably one of the first games, like a RPG, that had a photo mode. And since then, a lot of different games have started to implement photo modes into their games because they realize that it makes their games last a whole lot longer. For a long time, the virtual photography community was really small, but over the past year, it's really, really grown. Especially with games like Ghost of Tsushima and Spider-Man, and oh man, there's so many now. I could just go on and on and on.
God, I mean, we talk about Ghost for days, but it's one of the most beautiful games. Absolutely. Probably the most beautiful game that I've ever played.
It's up there.
It's up there. I can't think of a more beautiful game. I mean, I'm sure that there are other ones, that were made for the 360 and PC, and they were, indie games that specifically were very, artistic,
Battletoads.
Yeah. But
gorgeous.
as a mainline console game, high selling console game, it's one of the, if not the most beautiful game I've ever seen.
Yeah, and I think it was 2017. I got to go to PlayStation Experience, and I went to where they introduced Ghost of Tsushima. Sucker Punch did. I got to talk to them a little bit as well, but I remember when I first saw this and how they added particles that fly through the air and the leaves and things like that. And the aesthetic of it, they really wanted it to be a beautiful game. And they actually added some things to the photo mode in particular that a lot of other games haven't done yet. They made an animation mode where you can record animations rather than just taking pictures, where it has background music, and where the particles and stuff, you can change the leaves, you can change the particles, and all kinds of different things in that. So
that's that's other level.
They did a great job. They actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm almost certain they were Game of the Year.
They were nominated. The Last of Us 2 got it, and I was like,
oh yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. I never played Last of Us 2, so my opinion is obviously biased because Ghost just blew my friggin' mind away.
Yeah.
I sort of wish they'd go back and add photo modes to vintage games like Mario 64. And everything's just clipped out and blocky and awesome.
The funny thing about that is Super Smash Brothers Ultimate actually has a photo mode also. So even though it's a 2D more of a 2D platformer type of thing, you can actually go in and zoom into the characters and move your camera around and take pictures in that game too on your Switch. So
I need to pick up Super Smash Bros.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like taking pictures of Kirby. He's really awesome.
So, so you're not just a virtual photographer. I'm assuming that you also, by trade, are a photographer, filmographer. You went to film school. You mentioned before we started the podcast. So how long have you been in film and stuff?
I started in just photography as a beginner a long time ago. Kind of grew up I just like photography. And then in 2000, I can't believe it's been this long. 2015, I decided to go to film school. And so that's when I really kind of got into the more technical aspects of, what you're saying on screen and things like that with, different ratios, where you put your character in the frame and, all of the technical parts of photography. So, yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool that people have a talent, like be it photography or drawing or music or whatever. I like it just because I'm also a big, huge, enormous fan of video games, and I'm almost getting up to my 40s, and it's my love for video games has not waned and probably has increased over time, and so I love it. I love it when I see artists or someone bring in another talent and then also their love for video games and meld them together. That's what I really enjoy about your work and about other people like that. And that's what I'm trying to do with, my YouTube channel and Twitch and whatever. It's hey, I'm a drummer. What can I do to put drums and video games together? And that's how my mind is always working.
Drummers trying to play over everything.
Yeah, right.
Always.
Yeah, I think that's super awesome. That's what one of the things that I love is just expanding, your horizons and things like that, and trying and experimenting with different things. And that's been the great thing about virtual photography is that it's not really mainstream yet, as in it's not necessarily a job. There are capture artists that work with studios, but it's not a huge thing right now. So we kind of have been able to explore a lot of different things, and we had our first award show this year for virtual photography through one of my buddies, Mick, also known as the Fourth Focus, has been doing some really, really, really big things with virtual photography, meeting a lot of different people and collaborating with them to get it to go a little bit more mainstream and stuff. So
you were nominated, right?
Yeah, I got in that I had 2 of my photos nominated in that, so
that's
I didn't
awesome.
win, but it's okay. I love that it was there's so many.
One was from GoldenEye. Just
Say what?
One was from GoldenEye.
Yeah, back in my day, you had to take a picture of the TV screen with your Polaroid.
We did.
No, we did that.
Actually, that's how back in in the early
I'm not
days.
kidding. Like, if you got a high score in certain things,
You better take a picture.
that
You
was the
actually literally
OG
had to take a picture.
screenshot, baby.
Yeah, and that's what they
I'm
did
gonna
with
go change
magazines
my adult
too.
diaper now. I'm sorry.
They didn't because they didn't have like wires to hook up to your. They didn't have computers really
Right,
back
yeah.
then. In the '90s where it was Nintendo or whatever, they literally would have, they'd play it on the television, and then take a picture, and then take that picture, and then make it bigger or whatever they have to do to insert it into the magazine. And when you think about like the amount of work that they had to do to make like magazines,
That's true, man. Nintendo Power people, God bless them,
dude. And you had remember back in the day they had they had a cheat call. You could call for solutions to puzzles. You had to call a number and talk to another person on the line, and then as you're playing the game, you're like, hey, I'm stuck at this part in Battletoads or Dick Tracy or whatever.
I still do that, except I just call Shane.
Yeah. How do I get past this part in Witcher?
Shane, I know you're at work, but
I wonder if any of those numbers still work.
I would imagine a lot of them are
let's
escort
do it right
services
now on the podcast. I will find it. Nintendo tip line. You gotta talk amongst yourselves.
But
use YouTube,
dude, it was a 1-900. It wouldn't surprise me if it's still up because I'm pretty sure those things still charge you.
I think it was I think it
1-900-288-0707 for anybody listening. Give me a call.
I think it was an angry video game nerd old YouTube video that made a joke like that where there was a number that you would call. It was I think it was The Adventures of Robert.
You know what?
Roger Rabbit or something, and they had the number on the.
Great game, by the way.
Yeah,
I love that
apparently
one.
not so according to him, but
Well, of course not. It was
inside
based
the
on
instruction manual was a number you could call, and it was a tip line. And he apparently called it. It's probably it was probably done for film reasons.
We're gonna
real,
do this.
On the other line was a freaking. It was like an escort service, so it was like, call 2205 for awesome hot chicks and this and that and the other.
That's the Leisure Suit Larry line.
Yeah.
Tip line. See, it always makes
those
it
old
in.
infomercials where the girls are on the bed or whatever.
Guys, we're gonna call the Nintendo tip line, and I'm gonna put it up to the mic.
We're gonna do this right now. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, we're doing it.
It's your show, man.
Okay.
I do what I want.
Do it. I'm excited.
I have no idea what's about to happen, but I found it online.
Thank you for calling Nintendo. For assistance in English, press 1. Pour assistance en français, appuyez sur le 2.
French was the
Hi.
next one?
French was
Thank you for
first.
calling Nintendo. Let's connect you to a specialist quickly. Let's get started.
Para asistencia en español, oprima el número 9.
We already
For
did this.
Nintendo Switch, press 1. For parental controls,
Oh, this
check
is-
the status of an order
They
or
just
return.
converted it.
Oh,
This
this is new. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is modern.
It said that. Okay, this is outdated. I'm sorry. Just edit that out. That's garbage. Dumb.
I thought we were on some gold there for a second.
I was too. Man, it said you could hear the full recording below. Lame. That's not the hotline. Man, props to Nintendo for obviously having the same call-in line for over a decade and a half.
That's impressive.
Impressive, for sure.
This is supposed to be an NES tip line. That's hilarious.
They're like, hey, Nintendo, maybe we should get a TikTok. No, we got
good
this
for
old
them.
line. It's cheaper.
That's hilarious. Maybe
my
we
mom,
didn't stay on the line long enough. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you stay on longer. You get Star Tropics help or something.
Star Tropics.
My
You're
mother
welcome.
has had the same phone number since 2004.
Oh, I got her beat. That's nothing.
Cell phone number.
Ooh.
No, I got the
Impressive.
OG, man. Yeah. Oh yeah.
How have you Okay, that's impossible for me. I've had too many phones and lived in too many states and too many. No.
Dude, you just slip them a $5 bill. Be like, I need this. This is mine.
Keep the number.
You do the handshake thing. Listen,
No,
man.
my parents made sure that all of us had the same last 4 digits at one point.
To make it easier on them.
More or less. Like the last 4 digits of my cell phone number are the last 4 digits of the house I grew up in. We all had just different prefixes.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm pretty positive you can't do that now. I'm pretty sure they have like a set list, like, hey, you can only get these because
Again,
too many people exist.
Just to get what you want, man. It's the custom license plate of the 21st century.
Oh man, custom license plate.
Well,
I gotta tell you,
Google Voice used to have you could sign up for dummy numbers on there. Did you ever do this?
No.
I used to have a number that was 8583 Mr. Dane. It was free. Yeah, it was a call forwarding thing that Google did. Google Voice. Yeah.
You would.
Yes, I would. Wouldn't you? Could have been Mr. Shane.
Yeah, I guess I would. I guess I would.
That would have covered all 7 digits.
Yeah, and speaking of custom license plate, I just had this thought, like, what a terrible question to ask a brand new 16-year-old driver. Hey, would you like your own custom license plate? Why, sure. I want mine to be 17 Slipknot or Mudvayne or some other band that I was into back in the late 90s. And that would have been my license plate.
Is your license plate Mudvayne?
No, it's not. And I'm kind of regretting it now.
Know what to get you for your birthday. I don't know if we can fit the Y in there, but
But on the subject, let's go back to video games. Sorry, we got sidetracked as we usually do.
That's what I'm here for.
So Rachel, what are your favorite games that like? What are your favorite games that either like, as far as an artistic view or just for a pleasurable view? Like, what are your favorite games?
That's a good way to frame that. What's your favorite to play versus your favorite to photograph? And how often do those align?
That's hard because I play a lot of different things. And I have over the past 3 years just played a lot. One of my favorite games to photograph, and it's probably because it was the first one I ever photographed, but it's really, really pretty, is Horizon Zero Dawn. That one will probably always be one of my favorites because the sunsets are incredible. There are machine animals in it, and then also with actually in the photo mode, and I've noticed that not a lot of different photo modes have this option, but they have different poses that you can put Aloy in, the character. But they also have this feature where you can hit the button and her eyes will track to wherever the camera is, and then you can
I do that with my cat.
Yeah. And then you can unclick the button so you can like put her in a pose and then move her head where you want her head, and then she'll stay there.
Oh, that's extreme. That would be really extremely useful. It's sort of like, in real photography, but you're not like, if only, right? In real photography, hey, move your arm. No, not your right arm, your left arm, your other left.
Exactly. The other game that I love to play that I have played pretty consistently, I've kind of been on a little bit of a hiatus lately, but I absolutely love Warframe. Love Warframe so much. When I first played it, I saw that it was a free game, and I was like, there is no way this game is going to be any good because it's free. But I'm going to try it. I'm going to just play it because I want to play a new game. I don't really want to spend any money right now.
Right.
I've been playing Warframe for almost 4 years. So
I've actually never had the pleasure. Warframe, what kind of game is it? I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, oh, this looks freaking cool.
It is basically you are a space ninja, basically.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was about to say. Is like,
yeah.
this is Space Ninja world. This is awesome.
The thing about Warframe that turns a lot of new players off is that it is very complicated in terms of there's a lot to it now, and the developers DE keep adding to it, so it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So when a new player starts playing, it's like completely overwhelmed at the controls, the Warframes, the way you have to they call it modding, where you have different mod cards and you can customize them to fight the way you want them to, but it's very confusing to get started on that. The other thing about Warframe that's super cool is that you have a lot of ability to customize the characters, from the color palettes to the armor that they wear.
This game is free?
Yes, it's free.
Jesus, look at it.
Now there is in-game currency, and I have put money into Warframe because I love it so much. You don't have to pay to play Warframe.
You have to pay to not die.
Because the biggest fear for me anyway, and I'm sure it was for you before you started playing Warframe, because
rejection. Oh, I'm sorry.
Dude, I'm married anymore. There ain't no rejection anymore. Not anymore.
Get a cat.
It's a whole different level of rejection. Let me rephrase that.
We're just accustomed to it.
We're just used to it now. I'm off my game.
Typical humor.
Literally. But when you play a free game and you're enjoying it and you get you sucked in, and then there's one spot where the difficulty level spikes.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, oh, I gotta, pay. I have to pay this game to get all the stuff that I need in order to beat this part of the game and move on.
Screw Candy Crush, man.
No, the thing with Warframe is you have to, level up your Warframes and your weapons to do more damage. You have to collect mod cards, which are very easy to collect. There's some cards that are a little harder to get, but you have to mod your characters or your Warframes and then just play. There's no like what you were saying, there's no okay, now you have to pay at this point to get better, to do better and things like that. So
well, it looks freaking awesome. I might just have to partake in it. That's freaking great.
I will promote Warframe probably till I die. Till I'm 80 years old and back in my day, I played Warframe.
So are you into the more action-oriented games, or are you into, or just are you just like a jack of all trades sort of thing?
For a long time, I was never a first-person shooter, and I always only played RPGs. And then I got into camp. Say what?
You're in my camp.
Yeah. Because I was afraid to play with other people. And then I started playing Warframe, which is a multiplayer. You can play either by yourself, you can play with friends, or you can play with randos. With Warframe, you kind of have to just accept, a lot of people are like, oh, I hate randos. I don't want to play with randos. They're awful. Warframe randos aren't that bad. But I started... It's true.
It's a broad stroke there.
It's true.
You're selling this great.
I should probably be hired by DE to advertise for them, but at this point, I've actually taught several of my friends. My husband and I, we've taught several of my friends how to play, from beginning to, a lot of them are more intermediate and advanced now, but I've taught so many people how to play Warframe. It's ridiculous, but. And then after Warframe, playing kind of multiplayer games, my husband finally talked me into playing a first-person shooter. The problem for me with first-person shooters was I was always like this. I can't control my gun because, it's just different. And then we got Borderlands 2, and I played Borderlands 2, and I loved it. Absolutely loved Borderlands. And then from then, now I play Overwatch. I haven't really gotten into Fortnite just because I don't like building forts. I just don't like that aspect of it.
It's such a weird concept for a game that became so successful. It's hey, it's a third-person shooter, but you also build forts.
Yeah, I feel like it's really hard.
I love building forts. Just gonna say it.
For me, it's really hard to...
Pillows.
Oh my goodness.
Blankets. Give me
anything. It started.
I'll make a fort right now. I will make a fort out of this computer.
Lincoln logs, especially Lincoln
Look around
logs.
me. I have nothing but rectangles. We can do this.
Oh my goodness. Try doing that while shooting in a video game.
I will. Thank you.
Maybe that's what it is. It's like two chaotic things merged together, and people friggin' love it. I don't know. And apparently, like for somehow they were able to buy the rights of all the Marvel and Fox-owned characters and put them into one game. Meanwhile, Capcom, who originally did it with Marvel vs. Capcom 1, 2, and 3, now they can't do the same thing anymore. They can't afford the same characters they used to afford. And here comes Fortnite, a freaking third-person shooter with forts and stuff. And all of a sudden Thanos comes out of nowhere and Spider-Man. And you're like, and what? And Wolverine.
Wait, didn't a DJ play a set inside Fortnite at some point? Who was
Probably.
this? Was it Marshmello? No, like seriously, like one of the big ones did like a Fortnite set. Pretty sure it was Marshmello.
Like
I'm gonna look this up.
John Wick, Kratos from God of War.
I was so right. It was Marshmello.
Yeah, they're like the new Smash Bros.
We had a conversation about this, my friends and I, on our show.
Did we really say bros?
What?
Continue.
And we were talking about how it felt weird for like characters like Flash and Kratos and stuff like that using guns. And I had a realization: the characters are just playing cosplay in Fortnite. Is all that they're doing.
Yeah,
they're just running around cosplaying.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. You're absolutely
that's all the
right.
game is? I'd get into that. Like, do you have to shoot anybody, or can you just like prance around, like
dance?
Prance around.
I'd be into that. Just moonwalking around, man.
My buddy Lim actually does Fortnite photography. It's called Photography, is what their hashtag is. But he got into doing that, where he builds in the creative part of Fortnite. He'll build islands, and that are sets, like a photography set, and then he'll do photo shoots with the characters. So
wow, that's really cool.
It's really awesome.
There's all sorts of. You know, I do call myself a gamer, but there's so many different things around video games that I'm just completely unaware of because
you call yourself a drummer too.
I'm an. How do you stick? I hit cymbal. I don't know why I switched my accent.
Angry hit things.
Shane angry. Rage.
I'm sorry, just kick me off.
There's so many things that I'm just completely unaware of because I'm just in my own little bubble. Like I'm playing, the game I'm playing right now for like the billionth time is freaking the original Dragon Age.
But this is so awesome though.
It's great. It's wonderful. I love it. And I you know what I've noticed about those types of games? Actually, we talked about it a little bit on the last podcast. Sleep Easy brought it up where you have so many different options, of how to converse with your characters or the scene or whatever, and there's so many different pathways that could happen depending on how you answer or what you do, or
choose your own adventure,
like your own adventure kind of thing, and it would drive them crazy. For me, like, I want the one thing I want to happen, and if it doesn't happen, reload, do it again, and then choose a different line of dialogue. And I find that fun. I don't know why, but I find I continuously do it all the time.
Be careful, man. I'm pretty sure there was a Rick and Morty episode about that.
You'll tear the space-time continuum.
Are you prestiging yourself? Like, are there multiple Shanes now?
Dude, there's like 80 saves in my Xbox 360 right now of like the same 5-minute loop over and over again, but just different variations of the scene. Yeah.
Have you tried Detroit Become Human yet?
No, I've not. I've actually haven't played any other of those games besides Heavy Rain. And I don't know why I haven't tried Detroit Become Human, because I loved Heavy Rain when it came out. Mm-hmm. Even though it drove me the same amount of crazy, where I was like...
I played that one halfway through, and I felt so guilty that I couldn't remember the color of my kid's shirt that I think I stopped. You remember that line of questioning? I'm like, oh my God, I'm a terrible father. I don't want to do this anymore.
It was one of those games where like I had the walkthrough right here. So I was just like, I like when you get like captured by the serial killer, and there's a specific amount of things that you have to do.
I thought I was the serial killer. I did not go far enough into this. I had no idea.
So yeah, in Heavy Rain, you get like captured by the serial killer or whatever because you're I can't remember the girl's part.
Spoiler alert, everyone.
Of the thing.
Spoiler alert.
Whatever. I can't remember the actual ending of it, but I do know you get captured by this freaking crazy dude, and there's a specific amount of things that you have to do in order to escape him, and you can totally mess up by hitting the wrong button. And to my knowledge, there was no save feature. At least if you like, there was no like, you pause the game and save. Something like that. If it's like, if you messed up, you'd have to reset, go back to the title and go back to the chapter beginning or something like that, which is kind of like auto saving, but still inconvenient enough where you don't want to do that, especially if you get far enough along and then you're like, oh God, I got to go through that whole dialogue thing all over again. Like, 10, 15 minutes worth of scenes. But I've heard like Detroit Become Human is actually really cool. And
it's really good. You have a lot of moral conflicts in that. Like it for me, I was just like, man, I don't want to do what's about to happen. And sometimes you have to think like split second, and you could change the whole course of everything. I ended up not killing any of my main characters, but I killed one of the NPCs, or a couple of the NPCs that I felt really bad about. I almost killed one of my main characters, and I felt really bad. I was like, oh my gosh, no.
I mean, that's the choice, man. I mean, like,
have you ever considered doing the like multiple choice test, like the answer is like 60% C, and just being like, all right, I'm gonna start this game, and whatever the question is, I'm gonna hit square.
That would be a fascinating experiment if someone were to partake in that. Just like all of those games, Mass Effect,
I feel like
Dragon Age.
There's a YouTube hole there. Like
Divinity
I'm play
Original
Witcher,
Sin,
and I'm only ever going to hit the X button.
Wouldn't it be crazy if they had a game where you locked in your choice in the beginning and then it just went through and it automatically gave you all the options to where you could see what the other options were, but because you chose that button in the beginning, wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah, you would like start the game with zero context of what's about to happen, and then as the game goes through, you're like, oh man, or like you're really proud of yourself. It's like, yeah, I did it right,
Right?
I kind of dig that. It's like reverse storytelling.
Yeah.
Like it's like Memento, but in video game form.
Oh God.
Dude, I think we just created a video game. Probably. I think we just did. Now we just need to get a...
We did. We're the only choice you have to make is in the first 30 seconds, and then you just watch it play out.
See what happens.
We're just... See? All of this is your fault. All of this is because
That's what you should call it.
Because you hit that button.
What a great game title. All of this is your fault.
That's what I get up every morning and look in the mirror and say that to myself. It's wonderful.
And the game should start. That dude, that actor. What's his name? I don't know. He just that guy. Whatever his name is.
You're giving us a lot to go on here.
The blonde guy. What's his name? I don't know.
Matthew McConaughey, of course.
Yeah, of course. Always Matthew McConaughey. They should make True Detective the video game.
They actually should, but
I mean, they kind of did. L.A. Noire is kind of like that. If you ever played L.A. Noire,
I know. I think I know what we're referring to. Yeah,
L.A. Noire is essentially True Detective, the video game, where you're interrogating people, and the same sort of thing applies for like those multiple choice RPGs. But instead of like you're conversing with them, you're actually just interrogating the person. And what was interesting about LA Noire was they used a different facial recognition technology, something that was like far
on the player,
on everybody. But it was a different. It was a facial capture technology that they used for this game. So the idea was that you would get an idea if someone was lying or tell the truth by their facial features, like what they were doing. Actually, I can show you just what I'm talking about here.
Oh, you're lying right now. You just look to your right.
Exactly. Exactly. But that's my point. It's like I
read that book by the FBI person.
That's my like.
I want you to know that I'm going to go back and screenshot all of your search histories that have popped up during your Googles.
This is incognito, baby. I'm one step ahead of you.
A lot of purple Teletubby on here for some
but like, hang on.
I did not expect that to have an E on the end. All right, cool. I learned something.
LA Noire facial expressions. Immersive face animations. You probably can't hear this.
I can't.
You can't? Okay, well, it doesn't matter.
No.
But look at the facial animations here.
Oh, wow.
So they used a different kind of technology here.
Mm-hmm.
And they like, apparently Rockstar got sued because of some financial issue. Either they didn't pay them correctly or something, whatever happened. So the company that used this facial technology sued Rockstar, and so they don't use it anymore.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah,
this feels very Polar Express to me. Like they just look soulless and terrifying. Especially the partner. Watch the partner when it pans back. He's
he's just so uninterested. Yeah, that guy's a dick.
He is high as a kite right now. That's who we need to be investigating. Investigate the partner. I just solved this game. That guy did it. God, look at him. Not him. He's fine. He's having a good time. He's a couple beers in. Oh, now he's thinking about his ex-wife. Oh, this is brutal. Oh, he's falling apart. What is happening? Oh.
But this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to like, is he lying or is he telling the truth? Yeah, look at that face. Look at that smug face. That boy ain't freaking telling the truth. Look at him and his bald head.
I mean, I wouldn't let that guy work on my car. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's LA Noire, and yeah.
It's the partner. God, look at... Oh, man, bloodlust. That guy right there.
Let's find the part. Oh,
oh, ah!
Look at him. There he is. Look at that guy.
Oh, jeez.
He's the one that did it. He killed everybody in the game.
Is that the guy? Oh, jeez.
But anyway.
That's the guy from Remember the Titans, right? Yeah.
Pretty funny.
They used that game had like a bunch of different actors. Like the main guy he was in Mad Men for I can't remember how many seasons he was in there, but yeah, he was from Mad Men originally.
Well, I love that trend of popular actors, actresses showing up in video games. Like it was such a treat. We talked about it in Final Fantasy VII Remake when the cat from Breaking Bad showed up to play Wedge. It was wonderful.
Yeah, and before that, for Final Fantasy 15, when they made the movie, Aaron...
Final Fantasy 15, which preceded 7.
Well, before 7 Remake came out. Final Fantasy 15 was coming out, so they had to sell the game, so they made a movie. So that's one way to sell a game. Just make a multi-billion-dollar movie. That's a great idea. Anyway, so they make this movie, and it stars Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad, what's his name from Game of Thrones, the freaking king who died in the first season, spoiler alert. What's his name? The guy who always, the actor
Sean
who
Bean.
always, Sean Bean, yes. And then also another girl from Game of Thrones, was it Cersei Lannister? Was one in that game, in that movie
Bean.
as well. So yeah,
Norman Reedus was in Death Stranding.
Yes, he was. That was like a big thing. He was supposed to be in Silent Hills, and then that game got canned. And so Kojima said, I still want you to be in a game. And so he made Death Stranding and good old Norman Reedus, which I still haven't played.
Haven't either.
I have friends who swear by that game, and I just look at it and I go, this does not look fun.
So here's the thing about Death Stranding. It's a slower game. Not gonna lie, like it's straight up a slower game. The thing about Death Stranding that people have had a problem with is getting to chapter 3 and then going, this is just a walking simulator. I don't want to keep building stuff and doing stuff, and so I'm gonna just quit. You have to get past chapter 3.
Yeah, we play video games so we don't have to walk or do physical activity.
I mean, that is true. That is true.
Except for Wii Fit. Love that stuff.
Although one of my favorite games of all time is Shenmue, and literally pretty much all of that game is you walking around town asking people questions, and very little do you actually do anything fun. Like you get a job, for Christ's sake. You get a job driving a forklift at a warehouse, and you literally do. There's no skipping. You don't skip. No, you have to.
I can become virtually forklift certified?
Yeah. In Shenmue, yes.
How do I spell that?
SHENUNMUE.
I do not believe you. All right.
Shenmue. Shenmue. It's been a while since I've actually had to spell something out of my mouth.
We also don't play video games to spell things.
No, we do not.
Hit a button for our responses.
Reading things is fine.
Are you going to play that just to put that on your business card, Dane? Virtual forklift driver?
I think it's already on my business card, but now I can back it up. Yeah. So I asked Rachel. So I got a PS5 because I'm rich.
Super rich, bro.
I'm not. But all I'm playing is PS4 games that came with it on PS Plus. So I'm the most hacky, terrible gamer there is. But Rachel taught me into the newest God of War. Have you done that, Shane?
I have not played the latest God of War. It is on my list of things to play.
Did you play the other ones?
I did play. I think the only other God of War I played was God of War 2. Was it 3 or 2? I can't remember. It was...
Can you get forklift certified in that one?
No, but you can get.
You can get your ass kicked certified because you're God of War.
Okay, that's fine.
You can just have a card that says "kick your ass" certified. I don't know. Moving on.
That's not my business.
So anyway, God of War. I've heard that game is also one of the best games that has ever come out.
Outstanding, yeah.
It's great.
Not only for the visuals, but also for the story itself, and like a father and his child, and raising a boy, and what it means to be a father, and that boy.
There's a lot of that, a lot of boy in the game. Yeah, a lot of that.
But that's the only reason why you have children, so you can call
I now
girl or boy.
To. Like after playing the game, I think this is effective parenting. Like, don't call them by their name, just gender, boy,
girl.
Or whatever you are. Good luck.
God of War also has a photo mode.
It does, yes.
As it should.
The photo mode is like I've done a lot of God of War. I've done a lot of the monsters in God of War. The ogres they're like if I saw an ogre out in real life, I'd be like, oh, that is the most ugly thing I've ever seen. But in photo mode, they are the most photogenic monsters in the whole game. They're great.
Oh,
that's how I think of myself. Very ugly in real life, but quite photogenic, honestly.
Catch me in the right angle, and I'm Brad Pitt.
There's only one, but if you catch it, yes.
I have a couple pictures of them where they're like, I have this one where there's 2 of them in the picture, and I was able to capture both of them, and they have these big long arms, and they're often like brightly colored. Like my favorite ones are the bright red ones with the white like streaks on their face and stuff like that, but they're just Brutus. They're just amazing.
Oh man, see that's so
I
fascinating.
haven't gotten there yet. I just earth tone trolls for me so far.
Earth tone trolls.
Yeah, very very HGTV trolls.
That's fascinating. I wonder if you, Rachel, like come into like when you're playing video games and you're coming from a creative artistic background and you have that sort of mindset, you'll look at something and look at it through that lens as opposed to just a gamer. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Or like musicians, or for filmographers, like, they'll watch a movie and sometimes they'll get stuck in the filmography, everything they learn brain, and watch a movie and it'll be ruined because they notice something that filmed wrong, or it was in the wrong, the filter that they used does not match the scene, or something the camera's shaky enough where it was a mistake, but they just left it in there because, or whatever.
It was a Middle East scene and they didn't color correct with nothing but yellow.
They shot it out in Ohio, and that because you saw the background, and when you visited Ohio last.
They don't have In-N-Out over there.
But so do you catch yourself sometimes when you're playing a video game and you'll like you just said, you'll see a monster, and for most gamers, oh, that's a monster, I kill it and it's dead. But for you'll see something man, that's super cool. If I can just get it, and you'll start thinking in the back of your, photography brain, and you're stop playing, get up photo mode,
That is a good question. Have you ever been in the middle of a heated boss fight and be angle?
Yes. Yes. Well, the way it works is not quite like that per se. Usually what happens, and it usually takes me a long time to play video games when there's a photo mode, because
Same. I'm not very smart.
I really want to take pictures at the moment.
Yeah. Right.
But the way that it works a lot of times is it'll either be a character that, or like a monster or something that I haven't seen yet, and I'm oh man, I want to get this shot. I want to be the first one to have this shot. Nobody else has this shot yet, especially.
So it's sort of like a what came first situation, chicken or the egg, where the chicken would be your love for photography comes first, and then you're I want to, and then you play the game and you're okay, so or the vice versa, where you'll play the game and then you'll get the inspiration.
A lot of times it's that way, because I do love just playing, but a lot of times what will happen, especially in a type of, if I come across a boss fight or something like that that's just really interesting to me, a lot of times I'll start fighting with that, and then I'll be wait a minute, I really want to try to capture this, so I torture all of my characters that I play with, send them back over and over and over to fight this thing over and over and over until I get what I want.
If only they had consciousness. Why does she keep doing this to us?
Yes, I've in Horizon Zero Dawn, there's this armor called Shield Weaver armor that it's a special armor that you can find in the game.
Shield Weaver.
Exactly. But it keeps you pretty much alive, even if you fall. It takes a lot.
That's what armor's supposed to do.
But this is above and beyond the typical armor. It takes a lot of damage for you, and then you can usually survive falls and stuff like that. And so Aloy, I usually take her mountain climbing, and I will take her to peaks that you're actually not supposed to go to probably, and I will try to force her up into those places. And I've fallen off and killed her a couple times. But I usually, she falls off. I've fallen off the cliffs a lot with her. So if I knew her in real life, she'd probably hate me. She'd probably have a restraining order against me.
You'd be
what
canceled.
If that is
You'd be canceled for sure.
What if that is our own personal hells? We are just tormented by the characters that we.
No.
Dude, isn't there a movie like that? I think Ryan Reynolds is it's called Free Guy. Yeah, I think that's the whole point of the movie, where he's an NPC in a video game, and they keep killing him over and over again, and he doesn't throughout the movie he gains consciousness, and he understands.
Oh, that was Bill Murray in Groundhog Day.
Every
Bill
scene,
Murray.
Every situation, and everything is Bill Murray in Groundhog Day. Okay, that's what you don't know.
His cameo in Zombieland, part of Groundhog Day. Everything's in that universe now.
He was also in the sequel, Zombieland 2. Spoiler alert! But
what?
Yeah, he's in it.
I wasn't.
Yeah,
what?
There's a secret scene at the end of the movie. Yeah.
I turned it off.
I
missed Bill Murray.
Bill Murray just comes. He just when you least expect it.
Oh man.
I'm still here.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So. So how long?
We all exist within the mind of Bill Murray. That is the alternate dimension.
I actually.
Go ahead.
I'd be honored.
Yeah. I mean, actually, not met him. I saw Bill Murray.
What?
It was at the Four Seasons in Austin, Texas. At what's that festival that bands play all the time? Over in Austin?
Southwest?
Yeah, South by. Yeah, South by. We were at South by.
You're flexing right now.
Yeah, that's not much of a flex. Not much of a flex, man. I promise. But anyway, we were at South by. We were at the Four Seasons. Like, I can't remember why. And Matthew McConaughey was there too. It was really weird. We were really definitely not supposed to be there. We were definitely not supposed to be there because it was again, it's at South by. Anybody can walk into the Four Seasons and when you're in South by. But we're meeting with this guy, I forget what it is, and Bill Murray is sitting on the couch watching basketball and just talking with people and just but he's really into the game. Like he's just and he's like, yeah, like just super glued to the video, to the basketball game. And then at the bar was freaking Matthew McConaughey. And he's just just having fun, just drinking, and be like, hey, fucking Matthew McConaughey. Hey, yeah, me. That's, he had a smile on his face. It was weird. Anyway. And that was my name dropping for the podcast. But actually, no, this is a serious question. And this is a question I don't think I've even asked you, Dane, even though you were on my podcast, years ago, but it's something that I wanted to ask, and it's a burning question. What is your journey with video games? For this question's for both of you, obviously, and you can answer whoever first, but it's such an interesting thing that I grew up with video games with it sort of being, not in style. It wasn't cool to be a nerdy gamer. And so you kind of have to keep it close to your chest. But I loved it. I fell in love with video games. And so I want to know what y'all's journey was with video games and how, it's blossomed into what it is now.
I'm going to say ladies first. Rachel, if you want to go first. If not, I will.
Sure. That's what Lim always says to me on our show. He's like, ladies first. I'm like, God, why always me? I actually... So when I was a kid, I grew up in the 90s and everything. My grandparents, they had some NESs. My grandpa would pick them up at yard sales, and he had a stack of them, four of those, because that sometimes they'd never work.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was
you'd have to have several.
If you combine four, you got a Super Nintendo.
They form the key of time. Okay.
16. Two of them. You only need two.
I think they also had an Atari too, but we rarely ever played that. But I remember down in the basement, we'd have my grandparents would sit and play with us too. I had the coolest grandparents for that reason. They'd play Tetris. My grandpa would be like, hand that over to me. I give it over here.
I can figure this out.
Yeah. And I'm like, but I'm playing. And he'd be like, no, give me a turn. My grandma too. My grandma and grandpa would fight over it, but whatever. So I had that starting out. And then we didn't have a lot of money when I was a kid, so I was always a console behind everybody. And I finally got a Sega Genesis, and I loved Sega Genesis. I had stacks of games. And then we had that taken away from us, not by my parents, some kid that my mom, she was dating this guy and they stole our Sega. It was ridiculous, right?
What?
I'm not okay. I will hunt them down now.
Blasphemy.
Right.
That is punishable by only death. There is no in between.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. That haunts me still to this day, because that was my sister played it, but I played it a lot. And one of the hardest games was The Lion King of all games.
Oh yeah.
Tremendously hard. It's why
it's not a game, it's a torture device.
Torture device, right?
Drawn, quartered, Lion King. It's all part of the same lineage.
Yeah. I really got into Sonic the Hedgehog. Love Sonic the Hedgehog so much. And I remember when the first, like, 3D Sonic the Hedgehog came out. It was so weird, but I loved it too. And then I remember finally getting a PlayStation.
PlayStation.
I had, like, a gap in between playing, like, where we didn't really have anything. And then I had what's called a video game dark ages as an adult, where, like, I think it was probably from 2008 to 2015. I didn't have a console at all.
There's a name for that? Because I definitely had the same thing.
There's a dark ages.
What was the game that brought you back in?
Horizons. No. Diablo 3.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. When my husband, who back in 2015, like, we were just dating, we got a PS3 console together because it was cheaper than a PS4. And so we got Diablo, and we'd sit there after work and school and everything, because I was in film school at the time. We would sit there and just play Diablo 3 together, and we were, like, in torment levels, like 14 and 15. It was ridiculous. Put a lot of hours into that game. And then we finally got PlayStation 4, and I played Horizon Zero Dawn. And I remember when we first got our PlayStation 4, Justin was like, I really think that we're going to need to get another PlayStation. And I was like, no, just one is fine. We don't need to have two PlayStations. Well,
what are we, rich? What are we, Dane?
Then after I had to sit and wait, like, while he was playing, I was like, you know what? We need to get another PlayStation 4. So we've been a double console household since, like, I have my own, he has his own. Now we have a Switch, and I just built my PC now, so I'm, like, getting into PC games.
They should have bundles for couples. Like, they have bundles, but they should have, like, the bundles where it's like 2 for 1, like 2 consoles for the price of 1.
It's the bundle of joy. For couples.
That's, like, perfect.
But yeah, that's pretty much been my journey. It's been a little bit, like, I've progressively gotten more and more into it, especially since, there's, with photo mode and everything. It gives me something to do in between games, so.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's Dane, what about you?
First time on the podcast. Everybody meet Zelda.
Hey. Oh.
Hi.
Little kitty.
Be good. Don't poo on the carpet.
No promises.
Me neither. My earliest video game memory is the NES, and I sort of suspect that everybody has a particular game. Not everybody. Every gamer, everybody who grew up in this culture has some particular game that brings them back to a sacred place in childhood. Example being, I used to tour with this guitar player, Matt Nelson, God bless him. And Mega Man 2 brought him back to this place. Like this childlike, I remember being with my family and my brother, and we would play Mega Man 2. And being on tour with Matt, at least once every week or two, you would find him in the back lounge at 2 a.m. beating Mega Man 2 for the nth time. He'd been drinking. Pause for a moment. We have guests. Hi. All good. You may pass. Hi, Benji. Good to see you, buddy.
He's dead.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's the thought that counts.
What kind of dog is that?
What kind of dog is that?
He said in the same tone.
He's on the internet. He's a rescue. That's a breed.
He's a lot of things. Here.
He's a breed. Oh, look at that little scruffer face.
So he is a famous dog. Went to his head. Yeah, he's a D-lister. So.
D-lister.
So am I. D for Dane. Good seeing you all. It's fine. continue. Where was I? I'll try and pick it up so when you edit this, it's like. So when I was a child, I messed this up completely. So my game that brings me back, I remember playing Punch Out with my dad. An early memory, and to this day, I'm a force to be reckoned with in that game, and yet it's still a 50-50 shot if I beat Mike Tyson.
I was just about to ask, did you ever beat?
I had the OG. No, I did. I've definitely beat him a couple times. I don't know if I could do it today.
I'm sure you could. You just have to put, the effort in again.
Well, the last time I played the game, there's a brewery in Denver. Lagerstadt Beer House, wonderful German-style brewery in the Lodo district. I'm going to get that wrong. But they have an NES hooked up, depending on the night of the week. And the last time I played it was there. But they also serve beer in a liter or 2 liter boot. And that may have influenced my success rate. Das Boot, indeed. So for me, it was that's the earliest gaming memory was Punch Out with my dad. I can remember the Christmas that we got the Super Nintendo, Mario Kart with Dad, and so that's the early stuff for me. As far as what did we call it, the gaming dark ages?
Yeah, because you hit.
That
after
hit
puberty.
Me college. In early college, no, I hit puberty in my 30s. So don't get out of order.
Just got the facial hair.
Pretty much. My first couple years in college, I did like the Halo thing, but beyond that, I checked out hard, and it was Fallout New Vegas that brought me back in.
Oh, nice.
So that was my re-entry, was sort of the Fallout games. And even after that, I took some time off. And it was probably Fallout. There's probably another Fallout that drew me back in. But no, correction, sorry. It was
Skyrim.
Hilariously, no. No, after the Fallout thing, I dipped out for a few more years. And then my wife got the Switch. Like on opening day, she was in line, got one of the Switches, and she played it for months. Breath of the Wild. She's a massive Zelda fan, hence the cat. And I remember I was about to do a small tour in the Middle East with Pasley, and I knew I had some very long flights ahead of me, and I was like, "Hey, can I borrow your game and play the Zelda thing?" And it was
Zelda thing.
Dude, I'll never forget, on the flight back home from Doha, it was a 16-hour flight from Doha to Chicago.
Oh, jeez.
I played 13 of the 16 hours in Breath of the Wild.
Wow. What a great game to lose yourself on an airplane.
Hard. Dude, I had a bruise on my right thumb from like the joystick movement of playing over half a day straight.
Oh my goodness!
Wow, I'm impressed.
Those were the things that brought me out of my two dark ages, if you will.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
dude. I can definitely recognize the playing with your dad because there were there's always I think there was
that way, huh?
There's a playing video games with your dad. I remember I got my first Nintendo, I think was I 6? Yeah, 6, or was I 4? I can't remember, but I got the Nintendo Entertainment System. Blew my mind. Playing Mario, could never beat it, but my dad could. My dad could play it. Like, he would beat stages left and right, and we would play together. Tetris as well. That's funny, yeah, because we would play Tetris too. And then I got obsessed with games, and I would. It's interesting when you're playing video games as a young child, especially as a young child, an only child, when you don't have any like brothers or sisters or a whole lot of friends. But I grew up with a traveling musician family, so I didn't like. It was hard to make friends because we were always traveling, and for every summer we'd go out. And my mom was a teacher, and so she would bring the lesson plan from my school, and she would teach me on the road. But I never really met friends. I did meet a few friends here and there, but most of the time I was just in my room playing video games, and that's sort of why I just got like obsessed with video games. And as a young child, a young only child, it's such a fascinating imaginary experience. Because when you're a kid, you know, you're playing guns and robbers and all the stuff, and you're imagining yourself on the moon and all the sorts of crazy things. But with a video game, it's more interactive, and it's giving you a story to play off of. Usually when you're a kid and you're imagining things, you have nothing else besides like a movie that you watched or whatever, but you're out in the world and you're imagining yourself. But when you're playing a video game like Legend of Zelda, where you see that Link is wearing green, you can, he has the sword, whatever, what's the overall goal of the game is to rescue Princess Zelda and save Hyrule and all that stuff. And you have the framework of your imaginary experience right there in front of you. And I kind of fell in love with that. And I still have that to this day. And that's why I think I still love playing role-playing games almost exclusively.
No, same. The storytelling of a game is what makes it for me still to this day.
Yeah. It's the only medium that I can think of that allows the player to interact with the story in a way that a movie can't do it, and to the closest thing like maybe a book can, but in a different way, because a book is sort of back to the imaginary, you have nothing else but your brain. You're not pressing buttons, you're just imagining the scene in your head. But video games sorts of melds that and a virtual reality together. And yeah, I remember what really did it for me though was because I never played RPGs before I played Chrono Trigger. I rented Chrono Trigger.
That's where you started? Was Chrono Trigger?
Yeah, that was my first technically role-playing game. I didn't know
what I consider that some at least medium level lifting for RPGs.
Oh, you're telling me, dude. I've told the story many times, so if you heard it, I'm sorry, but it's just hilarious to me that. So I have no idea. How old am I? I think like 1995. I think I'm around like 10 or something, 10, 11, whatever. I don't know what a role-playing game is. I do not know what the mechanics of a role-playing game mean. Okay, all I knew was like Street Fighter. You punch dudes, they die, and then you move on to the next stage. That's what all I knew. Okay, here comes the game called Chrono Trigger. Okay, and right at the beginning of the game, that big clock thing switches, and then the music turns on, and just like as a kid, I've never experienced anything like this. Sure. What is this? This is beautiful, and I'm all of a sudden I'm playing a game and I'm reading text, and I'm like, I'm in a scene and I'm controlling, this character, and I'm not fighting anybody. I'm just walking around, and wow, this is pretty crazy. It's like kind of what real life is like. You get up out of bed and you go to the thing and you go to your next goal. And then anyway, so I'm playing this game and I'm just zooming through everything. I'm fighting where I need to fight and going through the story or whatever. And I get to the part where they go to the future world or something like that.
Yeah.
And I get my ass handed to me to like just dead, just killed, murdered. And I'm so upset. I do not know why.
Quit video games forever.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm dying. And so this was like the internet was, I knew at AOL back then, like, and it just had come out. So there was no like game, there was no game facts on the internet. You just had your friends and your buddies, or you just had to figure it out. I think I didn't even get information. Like, I think I figured it out myself where, there's this thing called leveling up. What does that mean? Oh, I have stats. Oh, okay. I got to fight. Oh, okay. I got to fight these little guys, and I got to fight them a lot to make my characters better. So
Dane
when I fight
grinding.
Yeah, I discovered grinding in the worst way possible. And I it's like, and then once I beat that boss after learning what like grinding was, and then freaking leveled up my characters, and like I again fell in love with video games all over again.
What's the first game you remember having to grind, Rachel?
God of War. Like one of the early God of Wars.
How old are you? 15? Like,
No.
that's so current.
No. Like,
Well, God of War's been around for a while.
For me,
We're just
Six
old,
one
Dane.
of the earlier ones, like way earlier.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah,
think
God of War has
the
been
first
around
God of
since
War-
the
4 for the
PlayStation
purists.
2.
Yeah.
Has it?
Yeah. It was like one of the first games for PlayStation 2, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you missed out. See, you've played.
That was in my
God of War
dark
4.
ages.
It was in your dark ages.
Let's see. When was the?
I thought it was PS3. I thought that was the first one.
No, they probably like remastered the original ones for PS3 or something like that.
Oh man, okay.
I played a lot of 2005. 2005.
Yeah, it was
the
like
first one.
it's like 10 years after me. It's not
No
that.
kidding. All right. Learn
Well,
something
I
new
played
today.
like before that. I played a lot more like platformers. I love platformers.
Same. Yeah, that's the same thing with me, obviously.
Yeah. Sonic the Hedgehog, Oddworld. Did you ever play Oddworld?
You know, I never got into
Wow.
Oddworld, but it's
I didn't
like
either. Yeah.
it was.
I
it
love
was.
Oddworld. They're coming out with again.
I know. I
got a
saw
new-
that. I was like, what an interesting like series of games where I have no idea what any of this is. I've seen it forever, but like people swear by it.
Yeah. I had a Nintendo GameCube at one point, and I was playing Metroid Prime a lot. So maybe that one, but maybe that was my first. That's an RPG, right? It's like an early RPG.
Horizon Zero Dawn's technically an RPG. It's an action RPG, open
But I mean,
world RPG.
Metroid Prime, the one for GameCube. Metroid Prime.
I'm sure they put in. Well, every game now has like RPG elements in it now. Like there's no such thing as no. Like they all put in sort of like leveling up systems from RPG. Every game now, like even like Mortal Kombat and like even fighting games and stuff like that, where there's a certain level of progression system because it's kind of addictive.
Yeah.
You know, it's an addictive element. Any addictive element we can throw in a game, let's throw it in there. You know, photo mode, you know.
Photo mode will ruin you if you like taking pictures. I suggest it to everybody. Like, try it. See if you like it. Because there's a lot of people that never even liked photography before that have jumped into virtual photography, and they're like, this is awesome.
Yeah, I imagine. And they could probably get a lot of inspiration for like the real world and know how to angle and know how to, like know how lighting works and stuff like that.
You have so much control over it that where if you're in a photo shoot setting, you have to be like, you have to know what you're doing, you know, if you're a pro, and you have to know where to put the lights and things like that. But yeah, I think it probably was Metroid Prime on Nintendo GameCube, and then God of War is also another one that I remember very well that I was playing. That was God of War, I think, was the first game that I legit like beat by myself kind of game. Loved Kratos as a character, loved his Chains of Chaos. It was beautiful.
There's those games out there that I love but never were good enough to beat. Mega Man 2 is actually one of those games. I love the Mega Man series just because of the music and the whole overall style of the game, and just how it's Mega Man. You know, there's no other game like it. It's freaking Mega Man. But I could never freaking beat Mega Man 2, or again, this is another shame as a video game player. Legend of Zelda. I think the only Legend of Zelda I've ever beaten was Ocarina of Time, and the first one I was like, forget about it, because that game is just still like ridiculous hard. Zelda 2, when it was they kind of went platformer and had like RPG elements to it, but also was ridiculously hard. Just I'm not good with difficulty. Like if I hit a difficulty spike, I'm out. Like I got get the hell out of there. I ain't got time. Like I'm playing video games to escape a difficult world, the difficulties of life, just where you have to grind.
No, man. The idea is to play a video game that's so difficult that it makes your life seem easier.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Where you're done playing the game, you're like, oh, God, I want to work 12 hours today. I need to get my forklift driving license.
Yeah, virtually.
There's 2 game series that if I told you that I haven't played them, you would in this podcast right now probably. I have never I don't know why I haven't, but I've never played any of the Zelda games.
That's silly.
And I've never played any of the Final Fantasy games, not a single one.
Final Fantasy, I can understand.
That
Definitely can understand
that one's
Final
forgivable
Fantasy
because it is its own thing. It's its own beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did play Kingdom Hearts though.
I don't think that helps you in this situation.
No.
There are Final Fantasy fans that hate Kingdom Hearts with a glowing passion. But you know what? I enjoyed Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, whatever. And you know what? Legend of Zelda is a hard game. It's a freaking really hard game, everyone.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You just suck.
I just suck. I don't care. I do. But yeah, Legend of Zelda. Yeah, that's.
Yeah. I don't know why I haven't played it. I just haven't.
Well, there's some games that just don't, they don't interest. Yeah, you're just kind of like, that looks fun. Not for me. Moving on. Like Fortnite. Like people fucking love Fortnite, but I look at it and I go, this is silly. This is a bunch of silliness that I'm not ready for.
Fortnite.
It's not my type of silliness.
I loved Mortal Kombat though. I loved.
Oh,
Mortal
dude.
Kombat.
Oh man.
Especially the movie.
What was your first Mortal Kombat experience? Because I remember mine when that first came out.
It's probably too young for that.
No,
we
playing
were
it
all
at
too
a friend's house because my parents wouldn't let me have it.
Oh, of course, yeah. I
The
remember.
forbidden game. Like The Simpsons did an episode parodying that.
They did.
What was the name of the game in that one? That's going to kill me.
That was a huge controversy. I remember that. It was just blood. That's crazy. Yeah. Like we have characters in video games like having sex and stuff, like and showing things.
Bone Storm was the Simpsons version of that. Yeah.
And like no one cares anymore. But like back in the day when Mortal Kombat came out, like a little spurt of blood came out, or well actually, they were
ripping off heads and stuff.
Ripping off heads, yeah, and taking people's hearts out. I guess I could see why that could be kind of shocking.
Have you played the new Mortal Kombat? How gruesome that is?
No, but I watch Maximilian Dude play because he plays it, so that gets my fighting game. I'm terrible at fighting games. If it's not already well known, I'm terrible at a lot of video games. Again, this is why I play RPGs by myself because I don't need to impress anybody, just myself. But I watch him and I'm just like, dude, and it's like. Freaking that now that what Mortal Kombat's new thing is like putting celebrities in like
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, like Terminator, Arnold's in it. Like they
are you serious? They're like NBA jamming Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, yes, dude, they are. It's like Rambo. That was the latest one. Rambo, freaking Sylvester Stallone.
Like early Rambo or current Rambo?
I don't know how you don't know this. Dude, we're gonna do this right now. We're gonna.
Oh God, the creepy faces are back. Take them away! Take them away!
Dane's gonna have nightmares of these two guys. They're gonna come knocking
on his door.
I
didn't ask for this.
Here we go. I don't know who this is, but we're just gonna hang on.
No, what are we looking at?
Hang on.
Rambo.
Oh wow.
Wait,
Rambo in Mortal Kombat.
Rambo. Hang on.
Dude, your frame rate's garbage.
You're garbage. We gotta watch this ad first. Check him out. But dude, yeah. So there's Arnold Schwarzenegger from freaking Terminator. There's Sylvester Stallone. The original Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat is in it. The actor.
Is Predator?
You know what I want? I want a fighting game where every character is a cast member from the original Predator.
Yeah,
I mean?
Predator.
Like Jesse Ventura's in there. Freaking Dolph Lundgren's in there.
There he is. There he is.
That's being very generous to Sylvester Stallone. I just gotta say that.
Well, it's young Sylvester Stallone.
Why does he have a gun? You can use guns. Oh, that's right. One of them had a gun.
There he is.
Combat.
Yeah, look at him.
Wouldn't it be funny if they
Man,
just had, like,
the original maskers, the original COVID mask people.
Going off what you said, Dane, would it be funny if they had a game that was just like a celebrity deathmatch game where it's like real today's celebrities that are just normal looking?
I can get into that. Yeah.
Oh, I would so
Betty
get into
White.
that.
I would play Betty White every time.
I think there actually was a celebrity deathmatch video game, like back in the PS2 era, because that was a big show.
Garbage. Yeah.
It was a big show on
Well,
MTV.
yeah, that was a big claymation thing on MTV.
Yeah. So
Because we're old.
if they were able to, parody celebrities, I'm sure
That was
able
during
to...
MTV's transitional period between like music and bullshit.
Yeah.
Like,
and where their shows were actually fun to watch,
Sure.
and then it turned into, oh, now everything's a reality TV show. Oh,
Yeah.
this is everything is garbage.
The mad
now.
real world.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Gross. All right, guys, we're coming out on the end here. This has been really fun. I've really enjoyed this podcast. It was really nice meeting you, Rachel.
Man, your standards are so
And
low.
it's fascinating to talk to you about your art and your creative process. Is there anything you want to plug? Like, there's your Twitch channel, your website, Instagram.
The only thing, I'm Lady SnipeShot everywhere, so you can find me at Lady SnipeShot on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever. That's it. That's me, Lady SnipeShot.
Right on.
So.
And of course, we all know where Dane is. We
Don't look for me.
We don't need to look for him.
Don't look for me.
You know what? We went a full hour and a half, and Leisure Shoot Larry was not mentioned one time.
Yes, he was.
Except just
One time.
now.
Yes, he was.
No, that's
He
twice.
absolutely was. And
I remember.
prior to the record button hitting press, we talked about we fantasized about a photo mode in the LSL games. We're not escaping that.
No, it's never leaving.
You might as well look for that Sierra endorsement or whoever it is that makes that bloody thing.
That's who I'm calling right after this. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. This was a lot of fun, and we'll do it again next time. Whatever. We'll do it again another time. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed
Rachel's part of the family now. She's
Yep,
gonna
you're
get
part of the
one
family now.
One of the big nights, yeah.
it. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. I will see you soon.